Welcome to Exploring This Life, Season 1, Episode 3.
Yo.
Today we're going to go to the old ghost town of Como, which is in the Pine Nut Mountain Range. The Pine Nut Mountains sit between Dayton, which is where we live, and Yerington. And we'll be starting right about here today. In fact, that's where we're standing at the map, the number 1, and that's the Como Road that we're going to be taking. And hopefully we'll get up to Rawe Peak, which is a little bit to our right as well. And I'm going to show you where Rawe Peak is. So we're hoping to get right up about there. Rawe Peak is at 8,300 feet. And it's hard to see the old Como Road, but it runs right between the mountains where that yellow line is. Dayton is at an elevation of nearly 4,400 feet. And where we were at the map, it's about 10 miles from there to the ghost town of Como, where we're headed. And Como sits at around 7,200 feet of elevation. And so this road might be a little rough. It looks like it's been freshly graded, but it'll probably be slow going for a bit. So we won't record all of it. We'll just show you some highlights of heading up there. Como is located in the Palmyra mining district, and the first gold was found in Palmyra around 1860, around the summertime. And shortly after, in 1862, Como was established. You can see the Dayton Valley down there on the right, and that is where we live. And farther beyond that is the Sierra Mountain Range, and they are still snow-covered. We're passing pinyon pine trees, and these ones are very old. They grow very slowly, but they do produce a cone that has the pine nuts in it. So I have harvested pine nuts up here, but plan on coming up again this fall during the proper harvesting time and gathering some more. One of my favorite sets of books about this area was written by Alf Doughton, and it is actually his journals, and it's a 3-volume set. But part of his life, he lived up here in Como in the 1860s. And he used to walk from Como to Virginia City, and that is about 18 miles. So that is pretty substantial. We got stopped at about 9 miles because of the road grading, and you can see one of the old abandoned mine sites, and that's where we're going to head. We've got to back down the mountain a little bit and let the grader go by us so we can continue on our way.
So today we're out on a place called Como Mine.
Alright, let's get back here and see this foundation. This is back to the back side of Como. So I don't have snake gators yet. I'm just watching for the rattles. There's a small foundation. Not exactly sure what it was. There's another smaller one. And then there's another foundation. So that's a third one, and then like a water heater tank this boiler has pretty cool art on it. This is all sagebrush that we're walking through.
It's like somebody had a little campground here. You'd probably come out here and stay a couple days. There's a pipe going under the ground there. It's kind of a neat little place.
We're above some kind of mill. Gonna get down to it. I always feel a kind of awe when I'm out walking in the desert and come upon ruins. Between the brick and rock work and the woodwork, it just fascinates me that so much of it remains.
I found this, what I suppose is probably some sort of water tank. It's huge. We got the drone fly down inside.
Ooh,
Probably just walk into it. Huh?
we're going to. Wow, holy hot. Huh. Look at the ladder.
And then this appears to be some sort of like transport object where they must have transported ore maybe, or maybe the water, because it's right next to this water tank. I don't know how well you can see that, but there's a cutout in the side of the cliff face over there. I suspect, based on the roadways and whatnot, I suspect that's where they were digging for the gold. It's a huge area out here. Goes way back this way. And that had to have been used back in the day for the gold mine. So we're down here back at the, what we think is probably the offloading site up there for the ore that would have come down a sled or a, what would you call that? Slide. Feed down into this area down here. And then this is probably a water-driven trommel of some sort. Can't really tell. But there's water tanks down here. I suppose they could have been holding cyanide as well, but I don't know. But it's neat because look at the construction on this thing. It has wire holding all the wood together, plus it's bolted in place. It's very, very neat. So down at the bottom of it, at the base, there's a cement foundation with this wooden structure up on it that must have held some sort of water tank or something. I would think that a water tank would be too heavy, but it's just rounded off. It's really weird.
See another foundation over there. We're leaving that mine site now and heading to the actual ghost town of Como, where all of the people lived. There were several hotels, post office, saloons, even a newspaper for a brief amount of time. We are now about a mile away from the mine site, and this is the most intact structure that can be seen from the old town of Como. And it is pretty amazing that even this much of it remains. We are on public lands, and so anyone can come, and not everyone is respectful of history or any remains. There is no graffiti on this, which is pretty amazing. And that as much of the walls are standing that's pretty incredible. Only one census was ever taken in Como, and it recorded around 1,800 people. But I read an article in Mining and Scientific magazine from 1912 that said at one point there were several thousand people living here. This looks like another foundation. Not much remains of this at all. That's the most of a wall that can be seen on this structure. Again, it's very small. Coming up to like another mound. Fairly sure this was another foundation. There might not be any structure left. Yeah. This is a dugout. But it's kind of round. Another like dugout hole area pit. These mounds that have indents with them are all over the hillside, and I'm not sure if that's another foundation area up top, but I'm going to take a look. So I'm at the top, and it doesn't look like it was ever a structure up here. I'm standing on a bunch of loose shale type rock, and over here, that's Dayton Valley over in the distance. It's pretty cool. It's an amazing view up here, and that way is Yarrington. We are now heading up to Rawe Peak, which is nearly 3 miles from here.
You can't see much from where we're at right now, but we are above Dayton, Nevada. This is probably the highest peak in the area. What you're looking at now is a distant view of Virginia City, Nevada. which is an old gold mining town, still in operation. It's about 6 miles from our home. Our home should be down there somewhere.
It's right there. I see it.
Up here there's all kinds of like cell towers and stuff. I'm not exactly sure what they're for. There's propane, a bunch of different facilities. They call it Lyon County Rawe Peak Facility. Not sure what any of it is. This looks relatively new. Some sort of generator maybe. Another building over here, another tower. Probably some repeater towers for law enforcement, fire. State of Nevada Pine Nut BLM. Another generator. Another propane tank. Other than a little bit of graffiti, this area is pretty neat. Everything's painted like it's brand new. Old telephone pole down there. So we have traveled quite the distance today. Off-road. Had one little scare. Tried to make it up a hill that the Trailblazer was not capable of making it up of. And kind of felt like the truck was going to roll when we were trying to turn around. But we managed to get it proper, get it right, and get it moved out of there. What a beautiful area. Hard to imagine all these trees function or grow out here in the desert. But the area that we've just traveled is pretty forested, as you can see here. This isn't just shrubbery, these are trees. Air conditioner going for whatever's in there. And there's honey.
I think that's the road we came up on.
Maybe.
That mountain and then up and around in.
Maybe. If you enjoyed the video, please like the video. Also, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And then click that little bell notification so you'll get notified when we upload a new video. Thanks, and hope to see you again real soon. We should have another video in the next couple of days, and it should be pretty interesting. So hang with us, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.